I will always remember the words in my son Charlie's obituary that so touched my heart. It said, "Language is important to express our feeling in this hour of sadness, and through our tears we can only extend our most sincere sympathy to the sorrowing family. Especially does our heart bleed for the bereaved mother and the young wife and babe so rudely separated from the loving husband and father. May the great Comforter uphold them in their sorrow." Oh, well, maybe I should introduce myself. My apologies. The sadness of reading about my boy keeps letting me forget about everything else. My name is Mary Elizabeth Shores Shanks. Most of my friends call me Mollie. And I was telling you about one of my 5 beautiful sons, Charles. We called him Charlie. It was the train that did him in. Ever since the trains arrived in Cookeville in 1890, they have been such a blessing and a curse to this family. My family, the Shanks, own the popular and widely respected Hotel Shanks, which when my husband Samuel first bought it was called the Duke House, and sat right across from the Cookeville, Tennessee Central Railroad Depot. It sat there right up until it burned to the ground in 1970. The Duke House was popular in its day when travelers could spend the night for 50 cents to $1. In 1926, our family enlarged and modernized the old Duke House with 50 rooms and 60 beds. We renamed it Hotel Shanks, making it quite the place in its day. There were marble walls and floors, beautiful chandeliers, and red leather furniture. Around the outside of the hotel there was a drugstore, a barber shop, and a beauty shop. The only hotel between Knoxville and Nashville recommended by the American Automobile Association, and one of the highest rated small town hotels in the country. My apologies again. Now I'm bragging. But to be fair, we had a lot to be proud of. Shoot, in those days, everyone came to the Shanks Hotel, especially if they were riding on the train. You see, in those days, the Tennessee Central didn't run at night. So my son Herbie made a deal with old Jerry Baxter to always have the train park there at the station in Cookeville so that we could put the passengers up at the Shanks. It was also the place for a weekly dinner, and for special occasions, we really did it up right. Our hotel became a favorite dining spot for locals, especially on Sundays after church. The menu always included fried chicken, and we would have roast veal and country ham, fruit cocktail, lots of fresh vegetables and fruit, homemade rolls, and ice cream. A lot of times we even had music. Over the years, a number of well-known people were guests at the hotel, including Secretary of State Cordell Hull. We even had Governor Frank Clement. Oh, and we also had Lee Majors. Remember the movie star? We had Senator Albert Gore Sr. and the Vice President of the United States, Al Gore Jr. Even Rin Tin Tin and his handlers stayed there. The hotel was run by descendants of our family until it burned. Did you know that some of those descendants are related to Cookeville's Mayor Shelton? I wish we could have seen what happened to it. Although I'm not entirely sure that would have been a good idea. I heard some talk that after the Shanks burned down, there hadn't been anything else there. Not ever. Kind of a ghost lot right there in the middle of town. But the good news is there's new talk about a modern hotel and a conference center going up on that very same spot. Now, don't act surprised. Even though my tombstone says I've been gone since 1936, I can still hear things. Would you indulge an old lady by allowing me to tell you more about my precious son Charles and how he passed? He was such a hard worker. He really gave his all to the Tennessee Central. Unfortunately, one fateful day, he had an ankle and the lower part of his leg crushed while coupling some cars at Crab Orchard. You know, being a brakeman on the Tennessee Central couldn't have been easy work. It happened on a Thursday morning, November the 19th, 1903. They brought him home and his injuries were dressed, and on Friday he was taken to the city hospital in Nashville in order to receive treatment from Dr. Fort, who was the chief surgeon for the railroad company. On Saturday it was found that amputation would be necessary, and accordingly his foot was taken. Poor boy. He never rallied from that shock. But he did linger until Tuesday morning, and that's when he died. His dear sweet wife, Kate, and I went to him on Sunday, and with his brothers, Mackie and Herbert, we stayed with him to the very end. Every service a mortal could render was given him, but an all-wise God ruled to cut short his young life. Oh, my apologies. I don't mean to carry on like a ninny, but that was the greatest heartbreak of my life. It's lovely and very quiet out in the cemetery where I am buried. I can certainly feel the presence of the rest of my family there too. It's so peaceful there, so quiet. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story.